Hello.
Hola.
So welcome to the Maze Q&A. So
it's quite scary how quickly it comes round.
I know. You know, the nights are. There's a Scottish saying: the nights are going to start drawing in, which means we're going to get past the Equine.
You always remind me of that.
It's so exciting with bad news. But we're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to start. So there's been a few things going on. So especially in the cake world. So Paul's going to start with a bit of a download, and if he goes on too long, I've got a buzzer that I can press and might stop him.
Oh no, just a few things. I thought it'd be quite nice to talk about things that I've been seeing this week and things I've been developing and thinking about, and then just put it out there, and then you can ask questions throughout the hour as well, which I thought would be quite nice. So first of all, I posted on the Facebook page, not the pro one, the other one, just about this new platform, the cake platform. It's CakeZ. It's actually which country? Oh, Ukrainian.
Oh,
Ukrainian. Ukraine. But it's a really good platform. Apparently, it's been running pretty well. It's the first time I've found it. What I like about it is it's nice and clean. There's not a lot of busyness going around. They are going to monetize it with adverts eventually, which is not a bad thing. But CakeZ, and go and have a look and join it. You can upload your pictures, and you can like everyone's pictures. And the more likes you get, the higher up the ranking you go. And it's really nice. Excuse me, and I think it will get there eventually. It's obviously it's got a lot of competition with Facebook and all these other platforms, but the fact it's just cake is quite nice, and they're developing it all the time. So the more people we can get to go over there, the better for them. And I really think it is one of the better platforms for social media for cakes.
They keep using our social media as well.
Oh yeah, I know, but just as somewhere else to put on, because obviously you can't upload pictures to the Facebook page, like loads of them. With this, you can put on hundreds. And it's just a really good way to get out there. And once you become an ambassador, you can actually advertise if you're going to be teaching, or if you're a cake maker who makes cake. You can even say that you make cakes for a living. You can buy cakes from you as well. So it's got loads of different nice little things. So we just need to get as many people onto it as possible. But I think it is one of the better platforms. So that's just CakeZ. So another thing I've been up to is. Also, I've got my nice moist chocolate cake on there, and it's the one I use all the time. It's my favourite cake there, but I'll also know a lot of people prefer a white sponge. Now, I'm not a fan of just a plain Madeira or Victoria sponge. I know a lot of people are. I like a nice moist cake that equally helps with the carving, and it's good for stacking and ganaching, etc. So I'm developing a new recipe just now, and we had a bit of a disaster because we're not in Scotland at the moment. I don't know if it's the humidity or if it's the flour. I don't know where it is, but it didn't quite work out. So I baked a Victoria sponge to make sure I hadn't lost my mojo with the baking, and the Victoria sponge worked a treat. So it must have been the recipe itself. Anyway, so I'm developing a moist white chocolate sponge cake, which will complement the moist chocolate cake that we've got on there as well. So that's all. But keep on experimenting, and that should go on sometime at the end of the summer for you to have and that'll probably uploaded as part of the free content, or
we're still waiting to work out.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a few things.
But you guys will be the first to know about it anyway. Now another thing I wanted to talk about is a few things that popped up on Facebook, the pro Facebook, and that's been really quite cool. First of all, Amy, is it Bohan? You mentioned last week regarding Cake International and maybe doing a table, a group table just for the pro members. And the seed was planted, and I've been thinking about it all week. And I actually think it's a really good idea. And then I started thinking, what could we do for it? And there's a lot of people who seem to be quite interested. So here's my thoughts, and let me know what you think. Something different that's going to stand out from all the building cakes that's there. Now, you know I like doing my carousel cakes. Now, if I speak to MoveTech, who are the people who make the turntables, and if they sponsored our table, and everyone was posted out a turntable, and then you had to create a cake on the turntable that spun round with when you plug it in the electricity, I think it'd be a really amazing stand if all the cakes are spinning around. So what I'm going to suggest is that have a little think, see what you think. My idea is that I'll order a large turntable. I'm thinking like a 1 meter wide. So that cake will be in the middle, spinning around, say a big fairy tale castle. And then we'll have all the sort of 10-inch round turntables with all the pro members cakes going around. and it's just something that obviously works that spins all the way around. So there's the idea. I'm going to leave it there. Let me have a little think. Either post on Facebook or even tonight, just ask some questions, and then we'll see.
But the one thing we've got to qualify this by saying is we haven't made an approach to MoveTech, and of course the turntables are quite expensive, so, there will be a limit to what they'll offer. But you know, it's one of these things. If you don't ask, you don't get.
No, the seed's been planted, so we'll plant the seed with them and just see what happens. So I'm sure. So just very, very quickly, I want to say well done to Maria Ainsley, I think. The torsal cake on the Pro page was fantastic. I like to be thermometer down below. Thought it was a really good idea. Just cakes that were sticking in my head tonight. The jukebox by Daniel Geddes. I thought that was a really good, nice and neat, clean finish. Excellent. And also a big hello to, is it Aileen or Eileen? Eileen Spargo, yeah. So welcome to the gang. And you went. I thought your wedding cake was lovely. You were saying that you've not got that much confidence. I thought the cake was really nice, the ruffles and the little sort of bling around it, and just the whole feel of the cake looked really nice. So well done you. So these are just little things that were in my mind. And very, very quickly before we move on, just remember this summer is the Olympics. So if you want to start thinking of cake designs for your Facebook page, or even like little after parties from the Olympics, start thinking about Olympics and get them on Facebook soon, because you want people to know that they can get their wee cakes from you. That's good. I'm going to be working on a new cake next week for Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest, it's the
German beer festival. So that's going to be one of the tutorials coming up soon. It's going to have a lady with a big blonde thingy here, and a Heidi here, and one of the German dresses, which I can't wait to make, so that's quite exciting. And I think that was it. Yes, okay, there we go, that was all right. That was a good little download.
Well, the other couple of things that are coming up, Wimbledon, the tennis.
Oh yeah,
Golf Open, I'm sure it must be in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And there's cup finals going on, but maybe a little, they're all going on the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what have you been up to?
I don't know if you can pick this up, but I had a bit of a fall couple of weeks ago now. Yes, that's why this side's all a bit slow and got a fractured cheekbone.
They're all adjusting the camera trying to see
amongst a few other injuries, but thankfully they're all healing up. So that's the last time I drink water. So
clear water.
Yeah, that's the fizzy stuff. So a few things have been happening with the Pro section. Some of you might have seen that we've the layout of the Pro courses, I felt, was a little confusing if you're coming on, excuse me, and not quite knowing where you would find things within chapters. So if you go up onto the courses menu and just select the Pro courses, you'll see them all laid out now in chapters. So there are 70 lessons, which came as a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
And we've also created a download section, and some of the downloads that we had in there were just photocopies of things that we'd had back in the truly scrumptious days, but we've done what we can to make them a little bit more interactive, especially the cash flow spreadsheet. If you can go on and have a look at that, you can, all you do is you save your own version, and then you can edit and work away on that. But as soon as you start putting in your sales and your overheads, etc., it'll start to work out a bit of a cash flow plan. So these are all things that are going on. Plus, we are in the process of getting there are 5 calculators that we're trying to get developed, and it's using the data that Made It With Love has kindly provided in our blogs, which are available on the site in spreadsheet form. But we get a lot of questions through customer support asking, for specific answers, and these calculators, the idea is to give them an interface to make them a bit easier to use. So that's all going on. There's lots more, but we better get on with some questions.
We're doing all right. That's only 9 minutes.
Gosh, we thought there'd be half an hour. Yeah,
I think anyone who doesn't speak English as a first language is going to be struggling. So we'll try and slow it down a little bit. Okay, so here we go. So we've got a guest who's Ty, David and Paul. I have a wedding cake to make in 3 weeks' time. I usually try to make my cake as near to the special occasion date to make sure that the customer has plenty of time after the date to enjoy the cake. Excuse me. The cake will be vanilla, chocolate and carrot cake. How far in advance of delivery collection date do you make and decorate your cakes? Thanks very much in advance. for any advice and encouragement to provide us. I got mixed up there, but yeah, okay, yeah. So it's always a tricky one, especially when we start getting busier and busier and busier, and the more cakes you have on. Obviously, the ideal thing is to make your cakes as fresh as possible, so that you can have the customers got as long as possible. The one thing we always used to say was we're making a wedding cake for the day, so the idea is it's going to be eaten on the day. It's a fresh cake, so don't worry about it. I wouldn't worry too much about the aftermath. I mean, you want the cake to obviously be still, if it's a Saturday wedding, you can still eat it on the Sunday and Monday. But then after, I wouldn't be worried about it because it's supposed to be a fresh cake. So normally, what we always recommend, if it's just the one cake you've got on, I would definitely recommend baking the cake at the start of the week, so Tuesday, Wednesday, and then start finishing it off Thursday, Friday for the wedding on the Saturday. Now, once you start getting busier, that's not practical because obviously you can't be baking and decorating at the same time. So what we used to do is bake the week before, freeze the cake, and if you freeze it when it's cooled down, you wrap it in a food bag, write the customer's name on it, it goes in the freezer, and then on the Monday, the following week, you bring all your cakes out for that week. And then the defrost overnight, so you bring it out, we used to always say before we went home at night time, so out of the freezer at 5 o'clock, still in the bag. When you come into work the next day, or you go downstairs, depending if you do it from home, the cake's defrosted, a little bit damp, so you take it out of the bag, it sits in a cooling rack, and within half an hour, it should be dried out, and there's not the sort of moisture, and you're good to go. Yeah.
Well, the other thing that we found out, and I can't remember where we got the information, but we just to increase the longevity and the moistness, we added a little bit of glycerine.
Yeah. How impressive is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I was doing the baking at the time.
Oh yeah, that's why you remember it. Yeah. So glycerine gives you a longer shelf life. Also, it's an additive, so you're adding to the cake. So some people don't like to do that, but it does give the shelf life. I don't actually like glycerine in the cake. It always gives me heartburn. I don't know why, but for some reason I always know when there's been glycerine used in the cake. But it does give the shelf life. So hopefully that's answered the question. There's something else about more shelf life, but I'm noticing somebody else has asked the question further down, so we'll get to that later on. Okay, on to the next one.
Yeah, so it's a guest who's asked, been part of a local brides magazine and put in an advert. It costs quite a bit to do, but I haven't received one inquiry from it. Yeah. Always to get your money and just do the work. We used to, our ego used to let us get in the way of smart decisions when it came to that. We thought, that there's a huge difference between putting an advert in a magazine and having your cake published in a magazine. Yeah. And of course, we paid an awful lot of money, and we found exactly that, magazines just didn't work for us whatsoever. And they still don't. We've tried, even recently, we've tried to see, even with the tutorials and with other things that we're doing, but
we had a new marketing person that came on board, and they pushed it to do it, and thought, okay, maybe we should give it a try. It's been a long time, but it was a complete money down the drain. All you do is give the magazines a good, something to fill. They're the ones who make the money, not necessarily the customer.
It was interesting because we had somebody came on recently, a magazine which I won't name, but they've given us their stats. They said, this was the size of the mailing list, this was the distribution, this was their Facebook numbers, and etc., etc., etc. But what you need to do is to cut through all that, because Facebook members, yes, it's great, but it's not a great marketing tool. If we were to put something on Facebook tomorrow to say, we've got a sale on with tutorials for 24 hours, it would flop straight away, just the way Facebook algorithm works and the way your members interact with it on the business page. So, even though you might get flattered with big readerships, etc., how many people are actually going to go to your advert, pick up the phone or whatever you've asked them to do, and take action? And it's I do mention this quite a lot, but if you are going to take out an advert, I would probably advise for cake decorators, your local newspaper would give you a better return than a national cake magazine. And if you are taking it out, as I always say, it's the right-hand page, because you'll get a 65% higher uptake on a right-page advert, and it's even higher. I can't remember the percentage now. I think it's 78% if you're top right. So always go for the top right. and make sure that it's very, very clear what the call to action is, what is it you want them to do. But I see from your message that you haven't had one inquiry, so you're doing the correct thing. You're making sure people get a reason to mention that advert when they come back to you.
Yeah.
So it's the only time that ever worked for us very, very well was when we had the cupcake.
Yeah. But it was giving something away for free.
Yeah.
So you brought a voucher in and you got a free cupcake with every lunch or something along those lines, and it was in the local newspaper, and it really did work.
Yeah.
So if you're doing a free demonstration maybe in the church hall or coffee morning, and you put a little advert in to promote your business, and also tear off the advert, bring it along, and you get to come watch a free demonstration how to make a fabulous dragon.
Yeah.
Then that's going to bring people to your door. And especially if it's geared towards entertainment for children, then of course that makes it even better, because that's going to bring mums and kids in, and they're going to warm to you because the kid's going to want that dragon for their birthday type thing. So it's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Good. That was good. Yeah.
Okay. So Geraldine's asked, cakes on planes.
I was
Sounds
thinking
like a film.
snakes on planes.
So any advice for transporting a cake or a competition piece in a plane? Oh.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is Robert Haynes. Yeah, can't remember. Is it that? Yeah, Robert Haynes. Robert Haynes, flowers, is it? Yeah. When Robert came to do his tutorials with us, he'd started making these flowers in Australia for the tutorial, and everybody while he was working at night times, he was working on all the pieces for the tutorial, so he put an awful lot of labour into it. And what he arrived with was a Perspex. He'd had it custom made. It was a Perspex box with all these flowers in it, and they were in the little holders. He had little connectors, and they're all there, and you could see right through the box, obviously. So when he was passing through security, it was very, very easy to show what he was making. So he made these box so it fits exactly into the size of the overhead locker, or underneath. In fact, I think it was at the seats, so it fitted exactly underneath the seat in front of him. So, so the best thing to do is speak to the airline, find out the dimensions of your baggage allowance space, and then design a box, make a box that fits. And you have to go at the cost of what Robert had, because obviously he's doing that all the time. And it's just for a showpiece, then maybe not. And it just, unfortunately, you have to just make a really strong box with the cake inside, but make sure there are windows, because if there are no windows, they're going to ask you to open it up, and then that's going to be a nightmare. And if that does happen, make sure the sound staff would take sellotape with you. So if they do open the box up, you can, because they won't have sellotape, so you can sellotape it close again at the end of it. It's a hard one, because some airlines are cool with it. I think I only had one student who couldn't take a cake home. It was back to Ireland. I had two students going back to Ireland. One was Ryanair, and one was Aer Lingus. Surprisingly, it was actually Aer Lingus that refused the cake.
I mean, when we were running courses up in Kenmore, I'd tried to speak to the airlines to get policies, because people were coming to make the cakes and wanted to take them back to their countries, and nobody would give you a definitive policy. But when obviously Robert just released, I'm sure it was a Siberia Market, was that just last week, a couple of weeks? So it's Robert Haynes Sugar Flower Studio. Yeah. There we go. So yeah, Robert just released that last week, a couple of weeks ago. But he's obviously worked out a way. It was the chill last week. Yeah. So he's worked out a way to get it through security and to take it on the plane. But the second part of that was a competition piece. I would be extremely nervous, but if it's the only way. But they do it. I mean, they take internationally, come from all over the world. Well, the girl from Argentina. Yeah, she got to Heathrow Airport, and then she got to Heathrow Airport. She tripped down the escalator, and there's a Grecian mask, and it smashed. And she stayed up all night, and with our good hands broken, and she royalised it back together and won a gold. It's pretty spectacular. But of course, it was a mask, so it was very small. Yeah, you've got to think about. I mean, but I've seen who's it? The guy in New York, Benny T, City Cakes, and he's that's internal flights in America, but he was shipping big cakes around, but I think that's internal. I think when you're going abroad, it's not quite the same. But best thing to do is speak to the airline. Well, I know in Australia, it's far easier to ship cakes, and on internal flights.
Yeah. But I think as soon as you go across the oceans, it becomes a bigger problem. But definitely the easiest thing is to speak to the airline and get the sizes and just see what they say.
Yeah. That wasn't a great answer, was it? But it's the best we can do.
Oh no, it's all right.
So Deanne Ray's asked, just heard about the glycerine. I've read conflicting information about how much to use. Some say 1 teaspoon per 100 grams of flour. Others say 1/4 teaspoon per egg. Well, no, I would go towards the first one.
Clarify.
I mean, well, when I was doing, adding everything into it, was a large Hobart mixer, and it was.
It's a full mixer. It's a 16-quart bowl.
Yeah.
And how much do we add?
The official thing was a blob.
It was. I remember.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, I would say a heaped tablespoon, but that's into.
I would say it was more than that. I would say for that size, you were probably putting about 5 tablespoons.
Well, I must have been doing it wrong. So I was just
Just
a blob.
were you?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I would say 2 then, but but I don't think they're going to have such big mixing bowls. I would be going towards a 1 teaspoon per 100 grams, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely too much. 1/4 teaspoon per egg. That would, because I mean, it does give a taste, doesn't it?
Well, I can taste it, but it's supposed to be a neutral taste. But yeah, we've not used it for years because we don't bake we only bake. I mean, you have to bake it; it's always fresh. So, I would go for the 1 teaspoon. The best thing to do is actually see the wholesalers, Fleming Howden, or Bako. Bako, I think, is down south, or just Hovis. Just I would email them and ask them, and they'll definitely tell you because they've got scientists that do all that. Yeah. So Rank Hovis or Bako would be the 2 that I would contact.
For the UK. Yeah. Well, if you're overseas, you can just email them in. They should be able to advise properly on it because they're selling the product specifically for extending shelf life in cakes.
Yeah. Cool.
So I'll read this for its view. Hi Paul, what's the best advice you can give for naked cakes? I have a wedding inquiry for a 3-tier cake, and the wedding's been held in the marquee, so heat may be a factor even in the UK. Not this week. Is there a good way to keep it moist? Should I ask the venue to spritz it? I'm worried about leaving it to them and the cake drying out. So I'll just. Oops. Yeah, many thanks, Liz.
Yeah. So you'll probably have noticed on the website I don't have any naked cakes for a very good reason. That I think they're probably going to give you more problems than they're worth. I think they'll look really nice. But that's exactly the problem I would be is the dryness, and there's just something about a cake being covered that I prefer to be naked. It's a difficult one. A marquee is definitely high risk. So but the problem is the naked cake is got a natural organic-y type feel. So a marquee with straw and lights, it kind of works with it. So I've always said in the past with other cakes is you can always put a disclaimer in. So if someone's ordering a cake like that, you could say if the temperature is going above 24, 25 degrees, then it's not you can't take any responsibility if the cake collapses or it dries out. So it completely takes that, and it works because they know it's in the clause, so that they're the ones taking the risk. Now, obviously, you could use ganache, but I've seen the ganache ones. They look okay, but they don't look as nice as the buttercream because the buttercream's got that slightly more grainy feel about it. So if I was making a naked cake, and it was going to be a marquee, and there's a risk of it collapsing, I would definitely make a central pole going down the middle with all your layers and your dowels to make sure that cake's not going to go anywhere. The buttercream might melt off, but the cake will still be standing. So that would be my. If someone came to ask me for that cake, that's what I would recommend.
The other thing with marquees, I remember a bad marquee experience. I was delivering a cake down to Haddington, down East Lothian, and got to the venue. It was pouring wet outside, and they'd laid the marquee, but the flooring of the marquee was awful. It was terrible.
Well, you get 2 types of flooring. You get the hard, and then you get the sprung.
Right.
So the posh ones are normally a sprung floor, which isn't good for cakes because if you've got a naked cake, and everyone's walking across and the cake's bouncing up and down. So
I actually had to refuse to leave it. So I set it up, and as soon as people were walking around, it was a warm-ish day, and I said to them that if I leave this, it is going to collapse. There's no two ways about it. So they ended up, they took the cake under a big umbrella into the main room, the main house. So sometimes when you are delivering cakes, you do have, not sometimes, all the time, you do need to be strong, because it's your reputation that will be damaged. I mean, nobody remembers about the creaking floor or whatever the circumstances. What they remember is the cake collapsed.
That's a really good thing to see. If you bring this type of information up when you talk about marquee, it instantly makes them feel they can trust you even more, because the first thing you're thinking about is the safety of the cake, and then they know that you must have experience in that. So again, it just gives them that confidence in going with you as a cake designer. When you say, so you need to make sure it's not, if it's a sprung floor, it's a no-no. And also, is it on a level playing field? Because we've had marquees that have not been on a level ground. And you can imagine setting the cake up on the slightly squint the ground. So
normally as well with marquees, there tends to be, well, that's just my experience, that there tends to be more pandemonium going on, because everybody's trying to get everything into the marquee at the same time. Whereas when it's a venue, you tend to go and it's set up and ready to go. And it is just a higher risk. But as Paul says, if you let the brides know that, then it gives. It shows you've got that experience, and use our stories.
If you nail a marquee wedding, it looks absolutely amazing. But I would just pop in a few clauses just to make yourself safe. So there you go.
I've got to say it's Santa.
Okay, that's another one for me actually. So it's Liz, and she's asking, can I freeze a filled ganache cake? So this is one of the questions that I saw earlier on that I was going to answer with the shelf life, the making cakes in advance. Oh, is it gone? Where's it gone? Oh, there it is here. I don't see why you couldn't, but it would be lovely to hear those sweet words. Any tips for cakes, recipes, combos that deal with freezing like this best?
We'll go again.
So
it's from Liz Barton, and I think. Liz, I was just having an exchange on the customer support side of things, because I think I thought you posted onto the Q&A page instead of here. But so you're asking, Paul, can I freeze filled? So we're just. I know,
we're just going to try and fix it a bit. It's a bit awkward to read. Oh, there we go.
That's it. Can I freeze a filled ganached cake? I don't see why you couldn't, but it'd be lovely to hear those sweet words. Any tips for cakes, recipes, combos that deal with freezing like this best? Also defrosting bench or fridge. I've bitten off more than I can chew for the end of the month, and this could be the life saver and sanity saver. So there's a few questions in there. So probably the first one. Can you freeze filled ganache cakes?
Yes, you can. There you go. So you can take one deep breath from that.
As long as they're not iced and buttercream.
Well, some people do ice them as well. You can actually do that, but it's a little bit risky because the damp, it does dry out eventually. So make sure it's fresh ganache, fresh cake, and then you can ganache them and then freeze them safely. I would try and freeze in a box, because obviously the last thing you want to do is your cake is bashed when it's in the freezer. So that's good. Oil-based cakes seem to, I think, freeze better than like a sponge cake. So butter cakes, I tend to find, are a little bit more dry after being freezing, but oil cakes tend to keep the moisture. So any oil-based cake, I would say, and that kind of what I was talking about earlier on about developing the white chocolate cake. It'll be an oil-based cake as well. So it'll be white chocolate and vanilla cake. So and you won't really taste much of the chocolate. It'll just be like a really moist vanilla cake. So if you Google it, there's loads of recipes online. So I've been having a look for oil-based sponge cakes. So defrosting, I've already mentioned that already. So you bring it out of the freezer and you just leave it on the bench overnight until the next day, and it'll be defrosted, and that'll be fine. Have you bitten off more than you should? No. I mean, we all do it. So, and over the years, we learn through trial and error. And to be honest, when we first started the cake shop, I think the first couple of years we used to get complaints about dry cake.
That was a particular recipe we used.
Well, it was, but we weren't freezing.
Yeah,
We were baking fresh all the time, and that's why we were getting complaints. So we went to oil-based, and then we gradually moved over to freezing the cakes, and never once did I complain about that at all the whole time and making the cakes. So this cake shop, which is almost 10 years.
And they were a lot easier to carve, weren't they?
Yeah, well, a frozen cake's always easier to carve. So, so there we go.
So, hi Paul and David, on the subject of ganache, I made some a week ago. I made far too much. What I didn't use has been in the fridge because I didn't get around to freezing it. Can I still freeze it safely? And that's from Deanne.
Yeah, a week's fine as long as it's been kept in the fridge the whole time. Just pop it into your container, or even just a food bag. Sometimes we just put it in food bags and then just label it when we made the ganache, or you can put when it needs to be used by. And normally frozen ganache, I'd say 3 months would be your maximum. So so you can go on for two months and 3 weeks or whatever for your shelf life.
Yeah,
so that's
just like a label,
a little label on it.
date label.
So it's good to put 2 bags. So a bag, label, then another bag so the label doesn't fall off, because you know what's in the freezer, they always fall off, and that just means that the label is always kept inside. All right. Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
So this is from Ruth. I find when I jam buttercream or sponge cake, the cakes tend to slide on each other. How do I stop that? Thanks, Ruth. Well, just before, well, Paul, give you an answer, but we've got Mrs. Jones.
I thought you were going to start answering the question. I was like, oh.
I've been studying. We've got Mrs. Jones coming to do some filming the end of June, 20th of June, and that's one of the particular things that she's going to be looking at, because jamming buttercream, so it's going to be very, very helpful. So, but in the meantime, I'll hand you over to.
I mean, you all know that I don't like buttercream, so that's one of the main reasons why I avoid buttercream, is the sliding. But the way to get around it, if you layer your cake and if you cut it 2 or 3 layers, you can do 1 layer jam, 1 layer buttercream, 1 layer jam, all the way around. So buttercream, jam, buttercream. And the problem is when the buttercream and jam are layered together, that's what causes the plates to move. It makes it slidey. So if you can cut your cake into 2 or 3 through the middle when you torte the tort, you can then put your layers of jam, buttercream, which will stop the sliding a little bit better than doing them together. The whole time we did the cake shop, we did it together, and that was probably just out of laziness of not experimenting. But over the years, we've realised that was the problem. Is it's really nice when you bite the cake and the jam buttercreams together, because it's like a nice centre, which is a very old-fashioned way of doing it. But the easiest way, as I say, is even just 2 layers. So you could do the bottom one jam and the top one buttercream. Like, we still get the nice taste from it, and that'll still be getting the slide, hopefully. And also, if it's still sliding, you need to try and buy maybe still less jam, maybe stiffen up your buttercream a little bit more if it still slides after that. All right.
Okay. And this is from a guest. If you can, it'd be brilliant if you could put your names in, just so we can help personalise it, but it's not a problem if not.
Yeah.
Are wedding fairs still the best way to meet brides? Well,
I would say yes.
Yes. I mean, the thing is, with a wedding fair, you're absolutely in your target audience.
I was asking, actually, is it somebody looking for a bride to get married?
I trust you to think that. But,
Sorry.
Yeah. But well, definitely, you're straight into your target audience. So if you put an advert in a magazine, as we spoke about earlier, folk aren't going to really read it. They'll flick through, they'll probably ignore it, unless there's an absolute jump-out reason that they want to stop and look. But if you're in a wedding show and you're at a wedding fair and you're exhibiting your cakes, it's then you've got that 3-dimensional stop moment. So it's up to you to engage with them. And there is a tutorial specifically on wedding shows and how, through years, when we literally have done hundreds, because we would do, well, some we were doing 2 or 3 a weekend, pretty much all through the spring and all through the autumn for 10 years. So all the things that we've learned about what worked and what hasn't worked, but probably on the, well, Paul, you can go with the things that have worked for you best at the shows.
Yeah, I mean, doing the wedding. So what I was thinking about when we had the cake shop, obviously there's a lot more competition nowadays. But I've said it over and over again. and it looks so nice seeing the stands that are all matching, i.e. They're all vintage style cakes. But the problem is you just instantly put you're just taking the one market. And the problem is, coming through that door, you're going to have people who like Gothic style wedding cakes. You're going to have people who like really contemporary cakes. You're going to have people who like vintage, really vintage cakes, and you got the ones who just want a novelty style, really mad Hattery style cake. So although it looks really nice having the stand looking all lovely in pale pinks and lilacs, the problem with that is you are just isolating the market. So we always would have a, excuse me, I don't know why this is happening. Can't get this. It's, oh, that's what we were always starving after the Q&A, so we put a quick pizza on, and that's what's coming back on me. So I do apologise. Yeah, so a full range of cakes. I know it doesn't really look as nice, but they are not interested in how the stand looks, apart from the cakes looking good, and then you can make the stand look nice after that. So try and make the stand look nice. A chocolate cake with the smell and the strawberries and the fresh flowers. And then you've got, like, you could have obviously your little cupcake tower, and then you could have like a big dragon, bride and groom in the middle, or or a little two cute little owls if you want to keep it more cutesy, like a male owl and a female owl. But have that in the middle, and that gives you your center point. And then you could then have your vintage cakes, your contemporary cakes, and all bling and lights on it. But try and do the full thing. The other thing with wedding fairs nowadays, because there's so much competition, and the hotels are also, there's so much competition with hotels. What could you present to the hotel that makes you stand out a little bit of rest, so brings people to that hotel? So hotels have got loads of extra rooms. So why don't you say that halfway through the 4-hour wedding show, and at the 2-hour mark, you'll do a demonstration in one of the rooms next door, and it does two things. It then promotes you as being confident and a great cake maker, and the name then is stuck in the head, and you give flyers out and stuff at the same time. So and also to try and get into wedding fairs, because there's so many people doing them these days. That's another way to get in. You're not just going to set up a stand, offer to do a demonstration for them during the show, and they're going to want to say yes to that one, aren't they? So you just got to have the confidence.
And the other couple of things that the shows is, make sure you get lots of fresh samples, and don't just hand flyers out. And
not fruit cake. To take a little bit of fruit cake, but it's always take the nice yummy ones, chocolate Baileys and lemon drizzle and all that kind of stuff.
But yeah, don't just hand out flyers, because they immediately go in the bin. You get a very, very low return on a flyer unless somebody's got a reason to remember you. So try and engage in conversation. And when we made the standard line, would you like to sample some of our chocolate cake? And it's such a hard question to say no to. So they're going to go, oh yes, I'll try this, and then you just open up with where are you getting married, and once you've done your homework, know about the venue, that's when you hand the flyer, and if you have any offer, or are you free next Wednesday, that type of thing. So
if you want to come for a wedding appointment, come for a private wedding appointment, where there'll be a lot more samples, you can get them excited, and I can just show you all the lovely cakes that we have. And if you mention a hotel like Dundas Castle or whatever, just go. You make, even if you've not made lots of cakes, a little white lie, but you just say, oh, I've made a lot of cakes there. It's a fantastic venue, and you want to come across, like, because you're a salesperson. You've got to be a sales. Even if you're a cake maker, you've got to be a salesperson.
Ask about their colours, because that gets them excited, and people get excited about when they're talking about themselves. It's everybody's favourite subject.
You're fishing for the bling person or the vintage person, and as soon as you know which style they are, if they say that, look, if they like your vintage cake, then you can talk about roses and if you still look like more contemporary cake, they're going to be more along the Swarovski crystals and bling, that kind of thing. So once you know the style, then you can feed off that and give them as many ideas as possible, which will make them want to pick you as their cake designer, hopefully, fingers crossed. If not, you just have to headbutt them.
Where'd that come from?
I don't know.
That's the Paul Bradford customer service Bible.
That's the cheese going to my head.
Look at this from a guest. I've heard that lemon curd, you have to refrigerate. I've heard, I'll shift that around. I heard you have to refrigerate lemon curd.
Yeah. But
one of my recipes for lemon cake with lemon curd said that it could be at room temperature for 2 days. Thought, but I'll finish this. I changed my design for the cake so I could refrigerate it. Could I have done the other cake too tall for my fridge? And what are your thoughts on fondant cakes and fridges condensation? So it's probably
Yeah,
two questions. There's lemon curd and then...
Yeah, I mean the lemon curd, obviously you buy it off the shelf, it's never refrigerated as far as I can remember.
As soon as you
But maybe as soon as you open,
you're letting air in.
maybe that, because I know that jams don't have to be. Interesting. Over the years, I've used lemon curd a lot, and I've never had any problems with it, and it's not been refrigerated when I've used it, because quite often we would do a lemon curd with white chocolate ganache. Oh, that sounds nice. So I've done that for years, and it worked really well. So you know, in fact, it was the cupcakes. That was one of the most popular. When the Cupcake Cafe Bar, it was lemon curd piped into the middle, white chocolate ganache swirled on top, and a little lemon. It was perfect, and they weren't refrigerated either. So the best way to solve this part, if you're at all worried, is bake off a cake, put the lemon curd in, put one in the fridge, one not in the fridge. Leave it for 4 days, and then taste it and see which one is funny and which one hasn't been funny. Sorry, taste it every day until it goes off. Give it 4 or 5 days. My guess is you're not going to have a problem with it. But try it in the summer when it's warm, and try it in the winter. And again, I've said that when we had the cake shop, it's only we could do the shelf life because we couldn't afford a scientist to do it. So we just did it ourselves, and it just takes. If you've noted it as well, keep a little book. I've always got little books. Little notepad books. This is actually my guest tutors. It's got a list of all the guest tutors that's coming. So I always got little books. So you can keep one purely just for your shelf life tests. So if the Environment Health come in, you can say, well, we did a shelf life test for the chocolate cake, the lemon cake, the toffee cake, and there's the results. And it just keeps you safe.
Yeah.
So the second question, what was it?
What are your thoughts on fondant cakes and fridges and
Yeah,
condensation?
it's interesting. When you watch some of the American programs, you see them putting the cakes in the fridge. And I realised actually that they're not proper fridges. I think they're just cool rooms, because you see the big glass and you see them putting the whole wedding cake in. So I don't think they're refrigerated. They're just chill rooms, chillers. Not chillers. It's just a cold room. So they're probably set at about 10 degrees, 10, 15 degrees, because obviously in America in different parts it can get really, really warm. But of course, if you put it into a refrigerator at 4 or 5 degrees, then you're going to get the condensation, and that's when you're going to get the sweating, where the cake was really, really watery. So when I worked in Glasgow, before we opened the business, they used to have a cake shop, and it had a cellar, and it was all kitted out, and the shelves in it, it was just always the same temperature all year round because it was on the ground. So obviously basements are really good for that if you've not got a refrigerator. You can buy them, the cold rooms, but they're not very cheap. But if you have got to refrigerate, depending where you are in the world, the Masticino Tropic is the best sugar paste for that, and it has been designed for the more humid countries, so you can refrigerate the sugar paste. Only for so long, it still isn't excellent. But if you're going to struggle, the Masticino Tropic is the best one to buy. And I was buying some today actually. Yeah. This is one of the best for icing cakes as well. So there we go. So I hope that's answered that question. Okay, so next one, you can read them. So I'm struggling with the reading tonight.
Okay, so this one, I guess, at a wedding consultation recently, the bride told me that she'd been for a consultation with a competitor who had warned her off booking with me, saying that the photos of my cakes on social media weren't my own. This is untrue. I invited the bride to come in and see my cakes in person and secured the order, so full marks there. Have you ever had competitors slander your business, and is it something that you drag to or just rise above? Well, there are two answers here. First of all,
because I'm going to swear there.
Well, the immediate reaction is you want to send a surface missile their direction, but unfortunately, you're better to step back. It sounds as though you've dealt with it very, very well indeed, and you've secured the order, which is ultimately the most important. And clearly, the bride warned you, and was, if there was any convincing needed, there was they saw the cakes, and you won them over. Competitors and competition, it can get very, very ugly. So you're better to steer clear, to be very honest.
Social media we were very lucky actually that when we had the cake shop, social media didn't exist. It was something really old.
People, there were still people that would threaten taking it to the papers, and there were some customers, if they didn't get their own way in terms of I keep referring to this cake where the swag went left or right to left, and it should have gone the other way, and the customer demanded a full refund.
It ruined the wedding because the swag was going the wrong way.
But,
you know,
but they threatened to go to the papers. But you know, the papers have got they've got a filtering system. But in social media, you know, I know that that's not what you've said there, but social media can be a very, very hurtful and horrible place if you're on the wrong side of, you know, somebody who's being outwardly vindictive. So the best thing to do is to step back, and it looks as though you've dealt with it personally. If you were to ever want to deal with it, I've always got this 24-hour email rule. If I get something in, I'll draft a reply and save it, and then 24 hours later, if I still feel that that's the right reply to send, then I'll send it, because we can all get caught up in the heat of whatever the moment might be. But I mean, if you were to reach out to her, I would go as softly as you possibly can and just say, look, you know, I think there must be some misunderstanding. I've heard that.
I mean, it's obviously a compliment that she thinks the cakes aren't yours,
Yeah.
which means your cakes must be really good.
Yeah.
So a little thing that you could do if you didn't want to make contact is, do you know, I always put my cake selfie up. So when I'm filming, you know, because I love making the cake. So we always do we call it the cheesy photo, where you see me going like this or whatever. So obviously, you know, if you're trying to sell a cake, that doesn't look very good if you're in the background doing this. But if you're posting, if you take a picture of a nice picture of the cake, and then you take a picture with you with the cake, or put even holding your name up, like just doing like social media style, like this, you don't have to put your face on it. It just could be your board with your logo on it, and that could be in the comments underneath, not on the main picture. And it further enhances your brand, because it's very obvious that it is your cake. But if you don't mind doing the picture, it gives a much more personal touch. And the pictures that my cake selfies that are on Facebook get more likes and comments than just a picture of one of my cakes. If I just put a cake picture on with me not in it, it gets half the attention of when it's the cheesy one. So it puts a stamp on that you've made it, and you also liked making it, so it's like a positive vibe.
And the other thing I was going to suggest there, and it's not too difficult to do once you're set up, is just add a watermark to your images.
Yeah, and just don't like watermarks, but
no, I know. But
I know. The problem is nowadays you can remove them, I just, if you're going to put don't put it across the cake. I think it ruins it.
You know,
just slightly in the corner, just off it. But for me, when I see a watermark over a cake, I just flick by it. It actually irritates me. Sorry, that's just my opinion, but
I think you've done very, very well to deal with it that way, and clearly, by the sounds of it, you haven't taken any negative action or any action to try and address it.
Well, that's actually what I was going to say. We did have a lot of problems with other cake shops, but we were so busy we didn't have time to worry about it, and it just went right over our heads. And it was like the gossip thing where you go to a wedding fair and everyone was gossiping. We didn't have a clue about any of all the different gossip, all of the trades, because we just kept our heads down and we just made the cakes, and we really didn't care what the other people thought. And if you do that, it will come across as you've been the upper hand.
Yeah, so we even had somebody trying to steal our staff from right under our nose, but you know, we just didn't react. So I think that the best thing is not to, because the problem is, I've used this story before as well, where there were two companies in Scotland fighting over who came across this, what was it, tartan design, or I can't remember exactly what it was, but they took each other to court and are both now out of business.
No.
So, you know, the thing is, I know it's so difficult to just step aside. I mean, there are times when you do have to step up and fight your corner, but choose battles you're going to win, and make sure that you're absolutely clear that the outcome that you're looking for is going to be worth the journey to get there. Okay.
Yep. Sorry, I'll be doing another one, just getting ready for it. So it's guests, and you can. You want to?
Okay. Still trying to be brave enough to use ganache in my cakes, but concerned about the shelf life and what to advise customers regarding storage. my environmental the environmental health officer has said that I'm okay to use ganache, but advise working on a 3-day shelf life, which doesn't seem very long to decorate the cake and still give the customers enough time to enjoy the cake. What advice can you offer?
Yeah, so again, I'm not quite sure where you live in the world. The big problem is the shelf life, and the fact that they said they're fine with you working with it is always a plus, because there's some ETO who say no, just a flat no.
They can work with it, it just takes them to another.
Well, you got to keep it. A lot of them just say it's got to be refrigerated all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, which is impossible when you're putting sugar-based fondant on the cake. So the 3-day shelf life, again, the environment health officer is only advising. They're not running your cake business, and it just repeats from what I've just spoken about in the previous post. You need to do your shelf life test. It's the only way you can do it. But the problem is, it depends where you are in the world. For instance, I don't know why, but Canada comes to mind. We were there at Christmas, and it was minus 25 degrees Celsius. And now they've got bushfires, I believe, because there's really warm weather. So it's went from one extreme to the other. So if you live somewhere that gets all the seasons, then you're probably best to do a shelf life for all the seasons. So a shelf life for the summer, autumn, spring, forgot all the seasons. Yeah, all the seasons. So the 4 seasons, and do a shelf life if you've got extreme temperatures. In Scotland, we're very lucky. We had one weather system for the whole year, which is usually just cold and wet. So we only had to worry about the 1 or 2 days a year that was hot in Scotland. So for a cake shop, Scotland's a great place to make cakes, because you don't have any problems with that. So our shelf life was really good, because it was generally cold all the time, even on the shelf. But a little bit of common sense, anything up to about 20 degrees, and I can only say that because I've made cakes for a long time. But up to 20 degrees, the shelf life of the cake ganached for me is 4 or 5 days is fine. As soon as you go over to 20 and up, that's when we start to have problems, and that's probably where the 3-day shelf life, 2-day, 1-day shelf life. Now, if it does go really warm, you really need to have your studio air conditioned all the time with the cakes, because you can't make a cake and have it sat there and start because it'll just go mold. And the problem is with ganache, when it molds, it makes a horrible smell, and of course it's really bad publicity for your cake shop. So you do need to watch. So if you're somewhere where the temperatures floating around, in Scotland generally it's between 12 degrees and 18 degrees is probably the average temperature, which is perfect for ganache. But I do know that down under Australia, the places, they all love using ganache, and they also get away with it, but they're using air-conditioned premises. But the only way I can really answer that is, and it feels like I'm fobbing off the answer, but it is the only way to do it, is that little book and all your test results published, written down there, so you can refer to, okay, so somebody wants to get married in October, the temperature there is around about the 18 degrees mark. I did a shelf test in last October, or for that season, for the if it's autumn, which is in the northern hemisphere, the shelf life for the cakes is going to be 4 days. It's the only way you can do it. Yeah, but the problem is with that is it's not just one cake, is it? So if you offer 5 or 6 different flavors or 10 different flavors, you're going to have to do a shelf life for all those cakes. Which when we had the cake shop, we only had 4 flavors. We had chocolate, toffee, lemon, sponge, which is the 4 sponges, and then the 5th one was the fruit cake, which didn't really matter because it's got a long shelf life. But within those 4 sponges, we could alternate the ganaches within it to add different flavors and syrups. So it's not the cheapest thing to do, but it completely gives you your peace of mind. And I'm going to stop rambling on, but hopefully you've got the.
I was going to say,
right, okay.
We've got less than 10 minutes to get through.
It's only like 15. Oh my goodness.
Okay. Hi David, I have a business question for you. Do you know if it's possible to get startup grants, and at what stage should I register for VAT? Yeah, startup grants, again, it would be very dependent where you were in the country.
Yeah.
But in the UK, you've got Business Gateway, or in fact, pretty much wherever you are in the world, if you approach your local council, local authority, local town hall, then that's the best place to get started. You know, there are places where there are lots and lots of grants available. And, thankfully for everyone in the UK, there are startup grants, but things change all the time. And for us to say that there's anything, I mean, the grants that we got are probably being superseded by other grants, but there are lots of things there because many economies are there to promote small business, and small business usually needs something to get started. We still get training allowances and things like that. We had money for PCs when we first started up, etc.
But you've got to ask for them. That they won't come looking for you.
Absolutely.
So
you've got to
make friends with your local business centre, and just keep in contact with them a lot.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that are going to help you out. So just to answer the question.
And the other one was VAT. And so if you are in Europe or the UK, then register for VAT now, and for all the receipts that you've kept and the membership that you've paid here. Remember that 20% of that, if you're in the UK or EU, will be VAT. So you can reclaim that. You can reclaim so long as you've kept your records. So it's a huge. It's always the giveaway. We never do any talks at Cake International. It's the starting point giveaway for cake businesses. I won't go into the full rules, but if you look at the VAT tutorial, I think it's chapter 2. It's the getting started area. Explains it all there. And if you still have a question, then just drop me an email, and I can certainly put you in the right direction.
Cool. Yeah. Apparently the season I missed out was winter. So Ken, hi Ken. This is a nice one. It just wants to let us know that since he first made his first X-Wing fighter cake, he said 5 orders.
Wow,
this is fantastic. That's brilliant. That's great news. And also he's added the Death Star, which is getting bigger every time, which is fantastic. Just really want to say thanks for the teaching method and the tutorial. The work. That's
it's great
made my night.
We saw it on the pro page.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
We saw it in the pro Facebook page. And for anyone who's not on the pro Facebook page, you'll see the members' benefits at the top. Once you're signed in at the top, and on the courses page, bottom left, is you just click on the link there, and you can join the very active pro members Facebook group. But brilliant, Ken. That's the kind of stories that really help to make it all worthwhile.
Okay, on to the next one.
What?
Oh. Where's it gone?
Here's Swiss meringue.
There we go. Okay.
I've just made Swiss meringue buttercream and love it. I just want to ask your advice on whether this is safe to use as a filling for a wedding cake. Also, could you use it on a semi-naked cake? That's from Alba.
Okay, so everyone's about to fall off their seats. I have never made Swiss meringue buttercream because I'm not a buttercream person. So I'm ganache through and through. So I can't actually answer the question honestly because I ain't made it before. So I would unfortunately know. So if anyone does know and you're part of the pro Facebook page, if anyone has information on that, please post it on there for us. That would be fantastic.
If we don't get it on there, just go into the Q&A part on the website, post a question there, and made it with love. I'm very sure we'll have made Swiss meringue buttercream.
Sorry about that. I feel really bad. Okay. Have I read that one?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's fine.
No, up.
No, I've done that.
Have we? No, not.
Oh no, I've not.
No.
Hi Paul, David. I want an order for a leaning tower of pizza. Oh, good luck with that.
My goodness.
That's one of my normal cakes, built up of 2 8-inch rounds and 5 6-inch rounds plus a 12-inch flat.
Oh my goodness, I'm frightened already. Sorry, did that come out loud?
What would you recommend is the best way to price the cake?
Wow.
Individually or as a whole? That's from Ken.
Wow.
Of course, that's definitely.
That's what we call a band Z. So anyone who works in a cake shop would never take that. They would never price the cake. They'd ask me about that one.
Yeah, but it's a lot of it. This sounds as though it's less about ingredients, and more about time.
Yeah, and structure.
And structure and risk, because it's it's going
to be an internal structure. Yeah. It depends. Also, I don't know how much detail you're going to go into with all the stonework around the side and da 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 da. But for that size of cake there, probably 800 comes to mind, just off the cuff. But I don't know how much detail you're going to put into it, and what the board's going to be like, and what the flat cake's going to be like, etc. But if it, just off the top of my head, if someone was to, one of the cake girls was to help with that, if we had the cake shop, the first figure it would come to is £800. But remember, I've not done any costing. That's just purely off the cuff. But make sure definitely that's going to be a time-consuming cake. Make sure you definitely add extra time, add extra hours on, because you'll definitely use them.
Always the way when you get one of these, as we call this headband cake, is if you're actually to get 10 of them and they were to be charged at that price, would you be happy making the 10 at that price, or would you start to think of undercharged or whatever it might be? So that's the, so if you get 10 of them, then would it be a good deal? And if you made £8,000, then fine, but so I recently had a customer tell me the venue wouldn't serve a tiramisu cake because it was undercooked. I bake this sponge all the time, consistently, and always test the sponges with a skewer before they leave the oven. I think the customer's been genuine. It's more feedback than a complaint. I'm confused about how to deal with this.
Well, it's interesting because it actually happened to us. It was a disaster from start one, but it was a topsy-turvy cake, which was never that good anyway. It was a 4-tier topsy-turvy cake, and it was a footballer and a glam lady, and it was a high heel shoe and a football boot. It was the bride and groom type thing on top, but they didn't want to pay the money for the cake to be delivered to up north. And what happened was we specified the cake to be picked up by one person and delivered to the venue straight from the shop, because it can't be going in and out cars, etc. And they did the complete opposite. It was a man that picked the cake up. I got a phone call that night from a female who said they had to stand the brakes on, and the cake had moved, but they couldn't come back down to the shop to fix it. And then I got a phone call the next day from somebody else who was in their kitchen. They were trying to fix it. And then the cherry on the cake was I got a phone call from the venue to say the cake was cracking, falling apart, and it was because the cake wasn't cooked properly.
Well, I'm sure. I better not say the place, but
no.
I'm sure that this was the one where they phoned up and said that it was undercooked.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember I'd baked the cake, and
no, it was oil-based cakes that we used for all our sponges are oil-based cakes, and they're all very, very moist. And that's the problem is a lot of people aren't used to moist cakes. It's always a Victoria sponge or Madeira cake, and the cake wouldn't have been undercooked. But they were trying to blame the cake on the cake collapsing, where actually it was the drive up, and the fact they got to stand the brakes on. And they were going to take us to town. The dad was on, there was people crying. It was awful, but it was like 5 hours away, the delivery, so we couldn't fix the situation. But the golden thing for us was the fact that the lady who phoned me during the night, that was the proof that they hadn't met with their contract. Was because it was picked up by a guy, there was a female that phoned.
It was just a terrible situation, because they didn't get the cake that they wanted and had paid for, and we'd done everything within our ability to deliver that cake, but they refused to pay the delivery charge. And as soon as if it had been our van and the brakes had been slammed on, we would have immediately U-turned, gone back to base. And
but just answering the question, the sponge cake. The only way that you can defend that is if they bring the sponge in. And if they don't bring the sponge in, then they can't. It's like buying a car. You don't buy a car and say that the engine's broken, but oh sorry, I went and sold the car. Can you give me a new one? Or I've trashed the car. I want a new one. So they bring the evidence in, then you can take it from there. And if they binned it, then they can't expect anything back. So it's horrible, but you just got to move on.
Well, that was always the same. They can't have their cake and eat it. We kind of ran over time a little bit. There's still a few questions, but if we cover another couple just now,
we'll just do a rapid. We'll not dither. So let's go.
There's a lot.
Oh, is there? Oh dear.
Okay. Well,
did you ever get in touch with customers afterwards to ask for feedback?
Always.
Yes.
Yeah. Always. And what we tended to do, especially with brides, would be to send a letter with a lottery ticket. A card with a lottery ticket a week or so after. just to thank them,
Yeah.
ask for their feedback, and invite them to, if they liked what they received, to start telling everybody. If they didn't, to tell us.
And if you didn't like the cake, don't send feedback. If it was a customer design, if you didn't like the design, but you made it to their spec, I didn't send a feedback because I wasn't that interested because I didn't like the cake. So you only ask for feedback for the ones you want feedback from.
Yeah.
I saw recently on the cake decorating program from the US, the decorators using cake legs, which consisted of plastic base, 4 legs attached used instead of dowels. Support tiers. Have you seen them? And yeah, I've seen them. So it's like a plastic plate, and there's dowels underneath it, and you sink at the top. And it's a very, very strong structure, and they actually sell them in Coolbit. But the problem is they only fit certain types of cakes. But the good thing is that they're kept into the plastic plate, and it does make the cake very, very strong. So I would definitely recommend them for that.
Right. I think we're going too fast because I've just been told that perhaps you'd better explain the lottery ticket. Yes. So when we.
The lottery ticket was before, not after, I was thinking. Because it was like a wedding gift. Was it not?
We did do both on some occasions.
Oh, did we? All right.
Well, the reason for the lottery ticket is it gives them something to positively remember you by before or after the wedding. But if you're looking for feedback and they open the card and there's a lottery ticket in there, once the dust settles in the wedding, there's a chance then that, wherever they are, they could be millionaires next week. Who knows? So we would always do that. It cost us £1 back in the day, but it's now up to £2.
Yeah, Marion, who worked for us, used to make the cards. She used to actually make them.
Cards.
Handmade card, lottery ticket, and a little question inside.
Yeah.
And it's a couple of pounds, but it's one of the best things to do. So we did it before and after.
Yeah, but we got a lot of positive feedback, and always and I'm sure you do this anyway, but when you've got somebody's wedding date and you've got their names, then you know it's their anniversary the year after. Same date. Well, hopefully it's still their anniversary, they're still together, and an opportunity to upsell.
When we did the cake shop in the peak, we're doing 24, 25 win cakes a week.
Yeah.
So you think how many lottery tickets we bought over a year? A lot.
Yeah.
We've never once got any feedback, funnily enough. But I'm sure someone must have won a lot of money. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I've tried every way I know to get my cakes level, but it just doesn't happen. Please tell me what I can do to get the cakes level. I have a wedding cake to do for the 28th of this month, and I really need some help.
Okay, if you're really struggling with your leveling your cakes, the first thing that comes to mind is an Agby. It's not cheap though. It's going to cost you, but it's the best cutting device. I've got a tutorial on the website that just said to use the Agby. It's very, very sharp, and you can see I've got my finger using it. But it gives you a perfectly level cake. And the key thing to your success is a spirit level. You must use a spirit level. So ganache the cake and make sure your spirit level's got a piece of paper, and just always checking left and 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and just to make sure the cake's level. If it's not level, just more ganache on or scrape more ganache off until you get it level.
I think we might need a translator, this you're speaking
about. Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. I think that translated. Drop me a message.
Okay, I think we're close.
Getting there.
So if you have multiple orders on different days, so one on Tuesday, one on Thursday, one on Saturday, and one the next Monday, would you bake them all at the same day? Or how do you manage your time with the dates? So
that's just back to the freezing. So
definitely freezing.
So we bake all the week before. So the Monday cake will be taken out on the Sunday. The Thursday would be brought out on the Wednesday, Tuesday would be brought out on the Monday, the night before. Or if it takes 2 days to make it, bring it out 2 days before. It's definitely the best way to do it. But I definitely wouldn't bake them all at the same time and use them at the same time, because that's actually worse than freezing, if you think about it that way. So
is that Red Bull in there? Because you're not for that.
Right, so hi Paul, I have my first wedding consultation on Friday. I would like to offer tastings. Should I do cupcakes or just make versions of them? Yeah, so I would say no to cupcakes, because of course the cupcakes is something to be dry on the outside, where when you bake a slab cake and cut it, you've always, because we used to cut the edges off, so you always guarantee it to be nice and moist in the middle. So a 10-inch cake, cut in half, so you've got 2 halves of the 10-inch, and just put the filling on top. So you're not, don't sandwich it up, because sometimes that doesn't look nice when it's on display. So just half your cake, jam, buttercream or lemon curd with a white chocolate ganache, sliced into little squares, and then that's your samples.
And then, yeah, so what you do is freeze each of them.
Yeah, so we cut them into
bring it-
little 1 inch squares, and then freeze it, and then you just break off a couple hours before. It just breaks off because you already pre-cut it, and then you just put it on your cake plate, and then a couple hours they're defrosted, and off you go.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think we've.
is it?
Oh,
Oh, there we
there we
go.
go. That
See?
was, yeah, gosh.
There we go.
well done, you.
They've probably not listed a thing we're actually talking about there, but
Translations are available in Scottish and Spanish. Yeah, just to let you know, we've got the next tutorial we've got for Pro members is coming out on looking at the year planner. Oh, where are we? Yeah, the 16th of May, and that's going to be if you're still considering whether you should open a shop or work from home, that this will give you some of the pros and cons in both. So that's worth looking out for. And we're June. We're going to do a little bit more in digital marketing. So that's going to be coming up. So that's the yes, and the next Q&A is going to be the 14th of June.
yeah,
Which is Tuesday.
yeah, and if anyone is interested in doing a carousel cake for Cake International, which is in Birmingham, November this year, then please just send a message, or I'll post something on the Pro site tomorrow morning, and then if anyone's interested, just leave a message. And if I can't get enough on the Pro, I'll open it up to all the members, and hopefully we can get a quantity. But also I need to ask some questions first, but I need to know if anyone's interested first before I start asking any questions. So
Yeah. So well,
high five.
thanks for bearing with us just a little bit longer than we thought. And we need to go out because we left the dogs out in the garden.
Oh my goodness, so we did.
They were
Oh
they
no.
were play fighting. We were
Oh,
worried
no.
that they were going to run off with the.
Yeah, Ben's now,
internet cable.
Paco's now this size, so he's just went huge in the last month, so it's
Yeah,
quite scary.
Yeah.
So God, we only just got him, haven't we? So
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I'm getting worried now. My plants are all going to be destroyed.
I'm getting
Or he's in the
dogs are
pool.
gonna go
I
away.
know. Right. Okay. Right. Bye. Chew.
Bye everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.